independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It's a disgrace.
A disgrace.
An embarrassment to our country.
Hateful.
Nancy Pelosi has done a terrible job as Speaker. There's never been a Speaker that's done so little. And she's totally incompetent. And Shifty stands up and he tells lies all day long.
That's all he does. He's a liar. So if you watched any of it today, because, of course, more's going on now, and then, of course, you have today to the debates. And we'll touch on that in a little bit. But, look, Gordon Sondland was it, right? Like, here's Gordon. Gordon shows up, does his thing. Did he say some stuff that was like, we all knew, right? Let's be real. We all knew. We all knew there was stuff. Let's not pretend that there wasn't.
Was there a quid pro quo? As I testified previously, with regard to the requested White House call and the White House meeting, the answer is yes. Mr. Giuliani conveyed to Secretary Perry, Ambassador Volker, and others that President Trump wanted a public statement from President Zelensky committing to investigations of Burisma and the 2016 election.
Yeah. It's got a Rudy problem for sure, but I think we know that. But, yeah, there was. Did anything happen? No. Couldn't he spin it in a few different ways? Yeah. But you look at the polls, and that still is the thing that matters the most. I can guarantee you, Trump can come out and he could say all kinds of things like, this is stupid, this is it, it's over, here's my answer.
So here's my answer.
Okay.
I want nothing.
Nothing?
I want nothing.
How much do you want?
I want no quid pro quo.
Are you sure?
Tell Zelensky to do the right thing.
I will.
Then he says, this is the final word from the President of the United States. I want nothing.
There you go. He wrote it, too. If you guys haven't seen it, he wrote it on big Sharpie on big pad. I want nothing. Because when you not quite sure what you said, you better make sure you write it down. But the reality is this. It's not moved the meter at all. People are still sitting there. They're still saying, and I see it because I said, look, as a person who's independent mind thinking, I look at this and I say today what I've thought all along. Trump wanted some dirt. Why you wanted dirt 18 months out? And he didn't even want real dirt. He wanted them just to go out and say, just announce it. You have to, we're going to treat it like PBS. How you announce it, where you announce it, what you do, that depends on the level of your giving, which will depend on certain things. Right? So if you announce it a certain way, you'll get this. And if you announce it another way, you'll get this. If you do this, hey, you're going to come hang out with me. Right? But they got everything. But just because they got everything, the reality is everybody knew what was going on. Right? Everybody knew. Everybody knew.
State Department was fully supportive of our engagement in Ukraine efforts and was aware that a commitment to investigations was among the issues we were pursuing.
And I've said all along, since all of this, the 2016 thing, I got no problem with that. Right? You're hearing things. Where you get them from, I don't know. But you think that server's there, that the Ukrainians have tried all along, right, to come and get you, and they've been a part of something, and that I have zero problem with that. Right? I got, CrowdStrike, I got no problem with any of that. Because I understand you. You are that guy that doesn't let it go. You're the guy who has the long memory of people who've wronged you. And when you have a chance, you will take a shot at them. If they cross your path, again, you will figure some way, shape, or form to hit out them. 2-3 years ago, we did a piece with Sir Richard Branson. And he was talking about how he never met Trump. And Trump sends him this letter out of nowhere talking about, just saying certain things, asking some questions, and then tells him at the end, like, hey, I'd like to have lunch with you. And by the way, don't get in the airline business. This was when he was getting into it. And Richard Branson sits down with him. They have lunch one day when he's in New York. And, so Richard Branson, pretty successful, Virgin Music, Virgin Airlines, all of these things. He says, I thought we were going to talk business. I thought we were going to talk about a lot of different things. And he said the entire time he was talking about all the people that wronged him when he was struggling financially that wouldn't help him and how he was going to get back at them. He's got that kind of memory. Certain things bug him. Certain things do. Athletes. There are athletes out there, right? They may see each other once every 3 years in a game, but they'll remember something that happened. They will. Trump's that kind of person. And for him, this is one of those things that gnaws and eats at him, which is the asterisk by his name. He's got an asterisk. Why? Because so many people think that he stole the election. And he can't get past that. He cannot get past that. So I understand that you want to go and say, look, I want to find out before I give you guys money. First of all, why isn't Europe doing their job and giving you some money and helping out over here? Why are we always doing the heavy lifting? Secondly, and this is vitally important, you guys are corrupt, and I want to make sure that, you know what, we're giving you a ton of money, and I want to see it disappear places. I don't think we need to be doing that. And I want some stuff done with 2016. Did you guys have any part to play in this? And I want to know yes or no. Are all those people gone if there was anybody who played any part in these things? But then when you go and you ask for Hunter Biden and the Bidens and the whole nine yards, that's where it gets a little bit tricky. And then you start putting stipulations on certain things that have to do more with your personal gain than the country. But the reality is he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. And yes, they talked about it today, where it came from. It came from the president. He knew what was going on because he knows what's going on all over the place because that's what he does. He's not one of these guys that's not going to be paying attention and people are going to be running. No. He knows what's going on. Now the question is, did this move that poll? I don't think it did. Not enough. And because that hasn't happened, get ready for an election next year. And we'll see what that looks like. Because I'm looking at this thing tonight and I'm asking myself, who up there looks like they're ready to rock and roll? And how much of this, right, is going to be tonight about Trump? Because if I'm on that stage, I want it to be about me, my ideas. Not, hey, we got 2 hours. Let's spend an hour and 10 minutes talking about the guy that we want to get rid of because we can't stand him, but everybody knows that.
Here in Atlanta at Tyler Perry Studios, we'll have 10 candidates taking the stage tonight. Of course, you have all of the main divisive issues of the Democratic Party. Of course, everyone on stage has spoken out against President Trump and called for impeachment, which is a prominent topic in Washington. But there's much more divisive issues in terms of health care and how you pay for health care programs or gun control and many things of that nature.
Yeah. A lot of stuff that they're going to be trying to get their point across to the American people. But when I look on the stage tonight, I say to myself, and we were just talking about it off the air before we came on. Anthony says, I see a lot of vice presidents. And I'm like, I see some cabinet members. I don't know if any one of them can take on Trump. I just don't. And I'll say this. I think everybody knows you try something like this and you try the impeachment and it doesn't go the way you think. What's the old saying? If you're going to hit the king, you better kill the king. I think that's real. I think it's very real. And I don't think any one of them on stage, just because of the train that he is, and when he's going down those freight tracks and the people are behind him and he's got a good economy and he survives this, he'll have some pep in his step and he'll feel like he's invincible. He will. And I think some people in America will feel that way too. So you got to ask yourself, I mean, what are they going to do? How are they going to separate themselves? And is anybody on the stage really have a chance?
The front runner may be taking hits from all sides. Now, previously, that's been former Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Elizabeth Warren. This time, it could be Mayor Pete Buttigieg. He has really rocketed up the polls in recent weeks and in recent days, even in Iowa and New Hampshire. Some polls have shown him as a front runner with even a double-digit lead.
Yeah, except for he's got a problem. He doesn't have the black vote at all. Like, no black vote. We're going to talk about that later. I will say this. If Pete Buttigieg was 50 years old, because I think his age and his young, He's just young. I mean, he looks like he's 23. He's 37. I think Pete Buttigieg was 50 years old. He was straight. Had a wife and a kid. You knew who they'd be behind 110%. But I don't think it's happening. And if you were just to listen and not know anything about any of these candidates, you'd be like, that guy's on fire. Who's that guy? I like some of his ideas. Even if you're like, I'm only a Republican. You would still say, some of his ideas are pretty good. I like what he has to say. But the reality is there's other things that he has to worry about. And on top of the fact that, you know what? I was talking to somebody today. It wasn't the gay thing. They said, I can't vote for somebody that young, younger than me. Which I think it works the exact opposite. Joe Biden turned 77. Michael Bloomberg's like 76. I mean, put it in perspective. Uncle Joe, right? He was born before the end of World War II. You're like, oh, wow. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Love hearing from each and every one of you. More going on, more impeachment stuff. You got Ambassador David Hale, Laura Cooper. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a female version of Sheldon Cooper. Today on stage tonight, I said to producer Phil, you had to have Gordon Sondland, in a situation where you have him early because he was he's the opening act that really should have been the closing act. But because of the Dem debate, they didn't want to take away from that. You know what it reminded me of? What was that movie, Quiz Show? Do you remember? Did you ever see Quiz Show, producer Phil?
I did, a long time ago.
Was it Joe? Was it like Turturro, whatever his name was, or who played that part where he was that kind of goofy guy, but he went before the Senate, and that's kind of what Gordon Sondland reminded me of, a little bit goofy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show Twitter. And I don't think he was a liar, and I don't think he's a never Trumper either. Hey, MyPillow. I didn't have my MyPillow last night because I ended up staying in the rain, all this kind of stuff. So I stayed in a hotel, and I did not get to sleep. Drives me crazy. Be there again tonight with the traveling and whatnot. I like sleeping. It's important to me. MyPillow's incredible. Right now, Christmas time's approaching. Buy one, get one free is back. Plus huge deals on everything from mattress toppers to bed sheets and so much more. Now, what you do is you go to MyPillow.com. You click on the new radio listener special, type in code Benson, start saving. The buy one, get one free is awesome because you can buy one for yourself and gift somebody some, hey, here's a pillow. I really care for you. Like, oh, I really wanted this. And you're like, well, really, I bought it for me, but you get one too. It's a win-win. You can't go wrong with the win-win. On top of that, 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the new radio listener tab, enter promo code Benson. That's MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, or call 800-944-4975. For a great MyPillow radio specials, check out MyPillow.com and use that promo code Benson. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved.
That is Louis Capaldi. Ever heard of him, producer Phil?
No.
Yeah, me either. And that's because not on the 70s channel. It's because it's somebody younger. I don't know. He's nominated for a Grammy. Is he? I don't even know. Like today we found out. Like I say Bon Iver. You said it's Bon Iver. Is that what it's supposed to be?
Bon Iver.
Bon Iver. They're a folk band. For a while, I was like, aren't they Australian? But that's Bonnaroo, which is like Lollapalooza and Coachella, but elsewhere, I guess. It's all confusing to me, these kids nowadays. But once again, I was not nominated for any of the things that I thought I'd be nominated for. And that is what it is. But let's take a look at the Grammys. And the nominees are Chad Benson for, no. What's it? Lizzo. Everybody's telling me Lizzo's going to win the whole thing. Which I guess, and Lizzo is quite popular amongst the youth of America. But Lizzo is nominated for the most. You've got the usual kind of people, right? You've got Kanye and you've got everybody who's done an album that you would think, like H.E.R., no idea who that is. Khalid, I know him because I see Lil Nas X, Billy Ray for Old Town Road, Billie Eilish for Bad Guy, Lizzo for Truth Hurts, Ariana Grande. So there's, Post Malone and Swaley.
Then you're left in the dust.
I like the song.
Unless I stuck by you. You're a sunflower. I think your love would be too much. Or you'd be left in the dust. Unless I stuck by you. You're the sunflower. You're the sunflower. Every time I'm leaving,
I like this. I do. That's a good song. That's my winner right there. It's not Konu, but it's my winner. I like Post Malone. I'm not afraid to say it. I like Post Malone. I was watching his video last night, his new video where he's like a zombie. He's like a rockabilly zombie. Dude's got some talent. Just saying. So, far more entertaining than what's going on now. It is. And, of course, they're going to battle it out. But Trump, though, was totally Trump. And we'll talk about what he said about Ambassador Sondland, because it just shows you, like, again, he wants loyalty, but loyalty isn't always given. That's the reason that the mob never works, because everybody swears to it, and then when push comes to shove, they all fold. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
According to that poll released Sunday, the 37-year-old mayor of South Bend, Indiana, is currently in first place, while Senator Elizabeth Warren, Senator Bernie Sanders, and former Vice President Joe Biden are all tied for second place. So watch for the other candidates to take aim at Mayor Pete, but Biden could still take his fair share of fire.
Yeah, because he's 103. It's his birthday today. He's not really. Chad, that's kind of mean. He's not. He's only 77. Good for him. Good for him. It's a 40-year difference. That's why that sweet spot's about 48 to about 60, 62. Right? That's the sweet spot. But who else do they have? Right? So tonight's going to be interesting. And I think that Bloomberg is going to see if anything really happens tonight of interest. Because more than rumor has it, he is opening, as they say, the spigot to the tune of a ton of money to get a bunch of people registered. And I think he's ready. I think especially if it get really thinned down tonight, which some people are thinking it could be.
It's going to be 10 candidates on the stage tonight. The next debate in December is going to thin the herd a little bit more. The qualifications tighten up. Right now, only 6 candidates have qualified. So you might see some candidates with lower poll numbers, like Senator Kamala Harris, Senator Cory Booker, who take some more aggressive swings because their backs are against the wall. And with 75 days to the Iowa caucus, the money is going to start to run out.
Yeah, for a lot of them, that is the reality of it. It's a money's game. And you can talk about a lot of different things like, oh, it's not fair that billionaires, but somebody like Bloomberg and even Tom Steyer, if they're willing to put that kind of money into it, knowing they're, Bloomberg at least has somewhat of a name. Tom Steyer, not so much, unless you watch CNN or you email Phil every day. But I think he's looking around saying if there is nobody that he sees, because if there was somebody who was running away with this, there's no doubt in my mind that he would be throwing his weight behind them. But there's not. So he sees somewhat of an open, and I think he's going to run, and he's going to try it. Would he be the best? He may be the best of what's out there. He may be the best of what's out there. And I don't know what that says. And I still think as good as Mayor Pete is, and I like Mayor Pete, don't know if I'd vote for him. I want to see him on stage. I want to see him debate his ideas. But as good as Mayor Pete comes across, he has still an issue. And it's not just him being gay. The young thing, I think, hurts him. But the gay part of it when it comes to people of color.
My problem with Mayor Pete right now for a few different reasons is I don't know if we'd be talking about a candidate who was polling at 0 or 1% with white voters the way we are talking about a candidate who is polling with 1% with black voters. He has a serious problem and blind spots with the African-American community. He came out with his Douglas plan over the weekend, and some black leaders that were on the menu never actually supported the plan. Others weren't black at all, and a stock photo used featured a Kenyan woman and her child. This is very sloppy, and it's very disrespectful.
Yeah. He's struggling. He has, and he just doesn't resonate. And being gay is part of it. Whether people want to believe that or not, the reality is being gay is part of that. And it's not going to get any easier for him. But it does show you the divide in so many different ways here, because Iowa, even New Hampshire, in certain areas, he is definitely doing extremely well. In the South, South Carolina, whatnot, he's like 0. Like 0.000. So we'll see if that at any way, shape, or form, if he can, if people start to fall off, people who have 1 and 2, percentage points among people of color start to fall off, are they going to get behind him if he looks like he's the leader, or will they stay home? And I think that's part of the problem too with the likes of Bernie and especially Bernie and Elizabeth Warren's people. Bernie's people in particular, where Bernie's people will stay home. Elizabeth Warren's people, but and if they're not going to go to Elizabeth. They'll go to Andrew Yang. And if Elizabeth dropped out, they're going to go to Andrew Yang. They're not going to Bernie. And if he's not there, I don't know what will happen. And that's part of it. Who's also electable? I mean, they all agree they want to beat Trump, but so many of them want to beat Trump with their person. And then you have a large swath of people who just want to beat Trump at all costs, but a lot of them are much like I think with a lot of Trump voters. If Trump wasn't there, they're not coming out. They're not. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. I have this problem with my house and my neighbors. I don't know if you guys do.
We love helicopters. We love airplanes.
He charters occasional helicopters for trips to the airport. Jonathan Sawyer owns acres of land in unincorporated Jefferson County. There's nothing in the zoning regulations that says he can't on private property.
Once a month, landing a helicopter is something that they didn't like. They're like 600 feet away, and I don't even overfly them. And it's less noise than if I had a Harley driving up and down the road.
And I have this problem, and I know you do too, Phil. When you fly your helicopter in every once in a while, you're like, I got to get a helicopter, and get this thing in there. And producer Anthony's the same thing. When he goes from his bedroom to his office in the house, he gets in a helicopter and he flies around. But they showed the pictures where this guy lives, and it's not like he does it every day. But I was laughing because he really is in the middle of nowhere. Like, his neighbors are far away. Why would you bitch? And especially if it's every day, okay, I can get it. If it's every day, and if it is louder than a Harley, then by all means get a Harley and piss your neighbors off a lot, and come in late at night.
According to the Jefferson County zoning resolution, if it's not listed within the permitted uses of a zone district, then the use is not allowed.
Helicopters are not mentioned. Fireplaces are not mentioned. Drones are not mentioned. Because it's not mentioned, the county says, hey, it's going to be forbidden. And we get to choose whether or not to enforce it. If it's not specifically prohibited, it should be allowed. That's the essence of America.
Yeah, it is. But remember, we live in a world where neighbors can come out and say, no. We don't like that. We don't like that at all. Don't like it at all. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Love hearing from every single one of you. You can text the program. Check us out at thechadshow.com as well. You can grab the podcast there. We're looking at some of the Grammy nominations. This is the one I think may just really crush it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse through the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take my horse through the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more.
I got the horses in the back.
Yeah, little Nas X.
Head is matted black, got the bushes black to match.
I think that has a chance, right? Because that was so big. That's up for Album of the Year. What was the difference between Album of the Year and Record of the Year? As opposed to Song of the Year. So Album of the Year is the whole album, right? Record of the Year is the single. Song of the Year, is that for the person who writes it? Best New Artist. Okay. Yola, never heard. Tank and the Bangas, never heard. Rosalia, nope. Maggie Rogers, Lizzo, know her. Lil Nas X, yeah. Billie Eilish, yeah. Black Pumas, never heard of. God, I feel old. And I like music, kind of, but not really. I'm reading this, and I totally know that I'm not saying the names correctly on some of those. Somebody's going to be like, ugh, you culturally appropriated somebody's name, and you screwed it up. Trump, very excited about today.
Not only did we win today, it's over.
I don't think it's over, and the reason I don't think it's over is because of the person that is mentioned over and over and over and over and over again.
Mr. Giuliani demanded that Ukraine make a public statement announcing the investigations of the 2016 election, DNC server, and Burisma. Mr. Giuliani was expressing the desires of the President of the United States, and we knew these investigations were important to the President.
It's a Rudy problem. Like, that's a real issue. Because take away Gordon Sondland, take away all of these people like Lauren Cooper's up there right now. I don't care if it's Mr. Cooper, right? Or Sheldon Cooper. And you got David Hale and all of these other people. Tomorrow you have Fiona Hill. I don't care about any of those people. I've always said that him running around, doing whatever he was doing, on top of that, you're asking a country to potentially spy and or start an investigation and or look into things or whatever you want to call on a potential political rival. And you've got a guy that's kind of running around, right? Like it's the Wild West. He's hooked up with some people that are nefarious, to say the least, who've all been arrested, the four of them. On top of that, you're now being investigated because you were trying to cut an oil and gas deal. And you look at somebody like Hunter Biden and go, well, what do you know about oil and gas? I got to be honest with you, Rudy. I've looked at your Wikipedia. I've studied you in the past. I haven't seen anywhere where you're like, oh, yeah, you know, as a wildcatter? No, I didn't. It was totally news to me. Producer Phil, did you know he's a wildcatter?
I did not know this.
Yeah, apparently he was not a wildcatter. Even Rick Perry, right? Like Rick Perry's backers just got a big deal in the Ukraine. But at least, even though we know where that came from, but at least they do oil and gas for a living. So you could say, well, yeah, we know why you got this. At least it's the business you're in. Like if they said, hey, guess what? Rick Perry's group that does oil and gas got a huge contract to build airplanes for the Ukraine. I'd be like, I'm a little suspicious. But at least they do that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. Love hearing from all of you. Love and hate. I'm good with both, right? I can look at Trump and say, I don't like what you've done here. And you could say you're this awful, evil person, Chad. But keep drinking that Kool-Aid doesn't mean I think he's going to go anywhere. I don't think he is. But don't tell me that there wasn't some stuff that he wanted done. Even the most ardent people I know in this business said, yeah, there's a quid pro quo. But, just because you tried to do something that was illegal and you failed at it, right, doesn't mean it wasn't bad news, right? Like you try to blackmail somebody and it doesn't work, doesn't mean that, well, it didn't work, so I'm off the hook. No. Bribe somebody, whatever it is. You had some issues here. You did. Doesn't mean he's going anywhere because we're not there as human beings. We've decided nowadays that we don't care. It's kind of we're so tribal. It's like nothing you can say is going to change my mind is what most of us say. We're at that point now. So it is what it is. Be prepared for next year. 323-538-2423. AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens, fastest growing over 50 organization in the country, fighting hard with both parties, trying to get them to do things like make sure Social Security is more solvent. Medicare is there. They say, and I've talked to them on numerous occasions, look, they want to know that what they're doing in Washington is going to be for the better of you, like common sense immigration reform, trying to bring both parties together to make sure, look, you guys got to pay attention to this stuff. On top of that, they've got great, amazing, incredible benefits, retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, so much more. Now's your chance to join for free. Free's amazing. Go to amac.us/Chad or call 888-355-1617. That's 888-355-1617. 1 year free. It's on me. amac.us/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Whoever said money can solve your problems must not have had enough money to solve them. They say which one, I say nah, I want all of them. Happiness is the same price as red bottoms.
That is Ariana Grande. Doesn't that sound like these are a few of my favorite things? Who wrote that? Was it Marvin Gaye? Every one of these artists is being sued by Marvin Gaye's estate. Oh, she's nominated. Taylor Swift, though. People are saying, oh, man, Swift got screwed. And she's not going to win anything. But she'll whine. She'll write it. Next year, she'll win everything. Because she'll be like, oh, my God, I didn't win anything. So now I have to win everything. Hey, there's a season for everything, right? We're going through impeachment season. We're going through some rain, some snow. You got summer. There's also a flu season.
60% of the country. That's a higher number than at the same point last year or even for the last 10 years. California, Louisiana, and Maryland are already seeing widespread flu activity. There's regional flu activity in 7 other states and what's known as local activity in 20 more states plus Puerto Rico.
I'm not a flu shot guy. I'm not. I've never been that. You know, you get it for the littles, you get it for the people who have compromised immune systems, and we had him offered here over the last couple of weeks, and I don't do it. I feel like I work out, I'm in pretty good shape, but we've had some people die, and obviously it's nasty, but it's always a crapshoot, right? Because there's several different strands, and they're like, we think it's going to be this one, and we're pretty sure it's going to be this flu here. But we're not quite sure, but we're pretty sure. It's kind of, maybe. Kind of, sort of, maybe. Maybe. So Gordon Sondland goes up, does his thing today, but he's not the only one because more is happening now Yeah, there are more people there. Now you've got Laura Cooper, who's there, as well as David Hale. He's an ambassador.
Did that connote to you that they were concerned that something was in fact going on with it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Maybe, sir. I walked out, producer Phil, and lady in the front, she's watching it, and I walked by her. Are you watching that? She goes, this lady needs a makeover. And I didn't say it. But I was like, oh, if a guy says that, like, oh, you're the jerk. You're such a jerk. I don't think they have anything bombshell. Today's bombshell was delivered by Gordon Sondland, somebody Trump barely knew. Barely knew the guy. I mean, we talked on the phone. He gave me $1 million, but I barely knew him. Seems like a good guy. He gave me $1 million. But I barely knew him. Well, you knew him enough to ask him to do some stuff. Just saying. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Was there a quid pro quo? As I testified previously, with regard to the requested White House call and the White House meeting, the answer is yes. Mr. Giuliani conveyed to Secretary Perry, Ambassador Volker, and others that President Trump wanted a public statement from President Zelensky committing to investigations of Burisma and the 2016 election.
Really? Really? Because that's not what you said as well.
So here's my answer. I want nothing. I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell Zelensky to do the right thing. Then he says, this is the final word from the President of the United States. I want nothing.
So he wants nothing, but there was something, but then he doesn't want anything, but there was. Was there a quid pro quo? Yes, there was. The defense of it is ridiculous at this point in time. Right? Now what you have to do is try to do nothing because nobody cares. Here's something about us that you should learn from all of this. We no longer care. We don't care. They're doing all of this stuff right now in D.C., and it's still going on right now, and there's a debate tonight. Nobody cares. Trump's right. He could go out tonight. He could take off his shoes. He could tap dance and then light the Constitution on fire, and his people will be like, I don't care. Right? It's fake news. And the other side of things, Adam Schiff could go have it tattooed on his body to try to show how loyal, and we know it's a bunch of crap because you too don't give a rat's ass. You care about party, people-ish, as long as they're doing what you want them to do. But the reality is we don't care anymore. I'll say this right now. If today what Nixon did happened, I don't think any of us would care. I'd be like, probably not. Probably not. Now, in saying all of that, they're not going to remove him. They will probably impeach him. I don't think they have the people, and that's what matters. I mean, the people just aren't there. Right? Like if the people were there, if 70% of the people, including a majority of Republicans, were pushing and pushing on the Senate to remove, because they figure if they don't do that, they'd lose their job, then they jump ship. But that isn't happening. It isn't. And that's because of the tribalness of it all. And we're going to, we're protecting. This is our stuff. We got to protect. So it doesn't matter. And what does that say about us? I heard people today saying, well, this is why we elected him. I'm like, wait, what? That's not. So you elected him because he did a quid pro quo that would benefit himself because somebody else you thought benefited themselves, so it's okay that he does it? And I think that's the way a lot of people feel. Right? Is they feel like everybody else does it, so it's okay. Right? Somebody said today, hey, Chad, it's like speeding, right? We all do it. It's no big deal. I'm like, all right, well, there you go then. So that's it. So sitting here trying to say, look, people say, what do you think's going to happen? Nothing. Nothing's going to happen. Nobody's going to have a conscience on the other side, just like they didn't for any of the things that any of the other presidents have done in a long time. I mean, the reality was it wasn't. We, back in the day, if you will, when it came to Nixon, we weren't as we were able to say to ourselves, we could compartmentalize it. Yeah, you might have liked Nixon, but in saying all of that, what he did was wrong. And because of that, I can say he needs to be removed, but we can all move on with our lives because I don't take it seriously, because I don't feel like him being removed was a reflection of me as a human being. And I don't think they have somebody right now in the wings that can take him on head to head and beat him, especially if the economy's good. Look, he could be squeaky clean and everybody could love his personality. And if the economy is in a recession and everybody's blaming him, as much as they might go, good guy, we got to get rid of him, that's still the reality of it. Right? Those people who are struggling under a bad economy will look at the president and say, I need to hold you accountable, even though I like who you are. I've talked about this before, but you go look at Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill, in the darkest days of Britain, led them as only he could. His approval rating was in the 90s. They voted him out of office. He was the right man for the job that they got him through, and it crushed him. Right? Because they didn't think he could do what needed to be done with the economy and things like that. We're a fickle bunch as human beings. Here's something, though. What would hurt him more? Not that I think right now at this point in time that he can be beat, because I don't see anybody, and they're getting ready to, battle it out tonight. And I don't know if there's anybody on that stage that has a chance of beating him. But as a person who's just watching this, right? And I would say to myself, if you were to remove him from office, he'll always have, they were always after me, the martyr scenario, right? He'd be a martyr. Look what they did. Look what they did. I fought for you. I did all these things for you, but they removed me. And in his mind, he'll have that. If the people removed him via vote, that would kill him. That would. Not literally. He's not going to die or anything, but that would, ego-wise, that would hurt. Because the people would have done that. He looks at politicians and people as two separate things. Them removing it is political and it's full of hate and it's Trump derangement syndrome. Him being removed by the people, he would have had to know that some of the people that did support him at one time are no longer supporting him, and that would hurt him. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. With all that being said, tonight, Democrats are going to debate it up. Oh, yeah. Now, who is everybody looking at?
Watch for the other candidates to take aim at Mayor Pete, but Biden could still take his fair share of fire. He's still holding on to long or big advantages as far as voter support in several states, including South Carolina.
Yeah, Biden's up huge in some of these states, like South Carolina, and the black vote is. We were chatting about it earlier with not only producer, but I was talking earlier to one of the pollsters that I chat with, and he says it just shows you how different things are. I mean, he's up double digits, might as well be triple digits on Mayor Pete, but Mayor Pete's winning in Iowa, but in South Carolina he's getting crushed. I mean, he's like Marianne Williamson is polling better in some places comparatively to what Mayor Pete's doing. And one of these, as far as we know, Bloomberg might show up somewhere along the way. But as far as we know, one of these people are going to be running against, more than likely, Donald Trump next year. And I don't see anybody on that stage that can beat him with the economy the way it is. I just don't. I don't see anybody right now that can beat him. So you never say never, but if you were asking me, you got to bet everything you have tonight. There will be an election next year. Everything's going to stay the same. But at this moment in time where you put your money, I would say even most people who are Democrats was like, I got to bet everything I own? Well, okay, then I'm going to put it here. Right? Yeah. So Pete's going to face some stuff for sure. He's going to face a lot of stuff tonight. And this is and here's the thing. Being the person that is chasing, right, is way easier, as Elizabeth Warren saw just in the last election. When you're a king of the mountain, people are coming for you in a much different way. Like, look at Rocky III, right? Remember Clubber Lang? He was working it. He was ready. He was coming hard. It's that kind of thing. Being the person who's always on offense and chasing, because not only are you going to, before you can kind of hide in the crowd and you can sling those arrows at the person in the lead, but when you're in the front and the spotlight is on, and everybody's coming at you, and no longer is it you really having to defend yourself from one person or two people, it's everybody's aiming at you. The arrows are flying at you. That's a different thing. It is. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Oh, let's see what's going on out there in the world and find out what's trending. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? A lot of stuff's trending. It's very interesting when you look at the trending things. I look around and I'm like, it's funny because, again, Google and Twitter are so different. So, Charles Barkley's trending because he was accused of threatening a female reporter from Axios. He said, I would never hit a woman, but if I was to ever hit a woman, it would be you. So, Aaron Carter is trending because he's mad that his sister, he said, lied and had the guns taken away. Julia Roberts is trending because it's very interesting about Julia Roberts. Apparently a Hollywood exec. Get ready for this, guys. So a Hollywood executive, when she was 25 years ago, when she was the it girl, wanted her to play Harriet Tubman. you guys, are you getting this? Is anybody understanding this? Harriet Tubman, Underground Railroad, revolutionary. If you read the stuff about her, understand that she led raids, she did all these things. I mean, she was amazing. And oh, by the way, black, not what she is. So weird, very weird. Democratic debate is trending. Jeffrey Epstein still trending and still dead. And Grammy nominations are also trending. That's Google. You go over to Twitter, and it is all about Sondland hearings, If I Ever Met Trump, the debate. The debate! Hunter Biden is trending big time. The bombshell. I want nothing, which was the big thing that Trump said today. I want nothing! Oh, nothing. Oh. Another thing that's trending that is very interesting is a movie I've yet to see, but I want to see. And guess what? They may make another.
This condition of yours, laughing, is it real?
It laughed its way to box office gold. Now Joker is getting a sequel. That, according to The Hollywood Reporter, it'll see the return of Todd Phillips in the director's chair.
Knock, knock.
And star Joaquin Phoenix reportedly has a sequel option in place, setting the stage for another chapter in the story of Batman's longtime archenemy. The news comes as no surprise, as Joker just became the first R-rated film to cross the $1 billion mark at the global box office.
My mother always tells me to smile and put on a happy face.
Yeah. That's trending because I'm curious to see what you can do with this. Like, how do you go? Are you going to bring in some sort of arch enemy here for him to be? And it's weird when you have kind of this, you had the Suicide Squad, you had Jared Leto, and then you've had all these things. And what are you going to do with him? Because he's the anti-hero in a weird way. And, and Joaquin Phoenix, while a great actor, is a bit of a nut job. At least that's what he plays at times. So I'm curious to see what he even wants for this. He got $4.5 million for the last one. I'm sure he got points on the back end because all smart people get those things. They're willing to give up stuff because they want stuff, like stuff in the back end. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. And as people are tweeting in, talking about and texting in, well, Trump didn't even get the popular vote, so he doesn't have that much support. I have news for you guys. Underestimate him at your own peril there. He didn't get like 8 votes or 500,000 votes. She got 65, he got 63. It wasn't this massive. I mean, I think people seem to think that it's this crazy, like, oh, well, now the 8 people that vote for him aren't going to vote for him. He's actually getting an uptick, as did President Clinton in the impeachment. People are digging in harder. So if you think that it's no-brainer, don't be surprised. Because 3 years ago, people said there's no chance. He just can't win. So you have to think for yourself, is it possible? The economy's good, and they run somebody who's screaming revolution? Absolutely, it's possible. It 110% is. But we're a year out, and they still don't have a front runner to speak of where you're going, okay, we get where this is going and how they're going to shape this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Man, it is pouring here. Lightning is lighting up the sky. I'm not going to lie to you. I like it, right? Especially when you're a place like Phoenix and you're looking around, you go, I haven't seen rain in months. Here it is. And guess what? It looks very wet. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
When the chairman asks you,
about the security assistance dollars. You said there needed to be a public announcement from Zelensky. So I'm asking you a simple question. When did that happen?
Never did.
Never did.
Jim Jordan right there, doing Jim Jordan stuff. Sleeves rolled up, going very much. It's got a tie. He's always got the kind of the glasses, but very much like the tie's a little undone, kind of not quite the look of Andrew Yang, right? But still, never did happen. What are the saving graces for Trump? Maybe the fact that the Ukrainians are a mess. They couldn't even do this right. They're so corrupt that their corruption leads to the fact that they're a mess. Do I think Trump ordered stuff and wanted stuff done? Yes. Do I think he had some of his cronies do it? Do I think he knew what was going on? Yes, I do. You're not taking a call or calling the ambassador of the EU to ask about something if there's not something you want. Come on now. In saying that, they're a mess. He didn't even really want anything. He wanted an announcement. That's what he wanted. He didn't get it. That's the reality of it. He didn't get it, and we are where we are. I don't think anything's changed as of yet. Doesn't mean that it's not going to change, because I still think there are people that will be called upon. And even if you're a staunch supporter of Trump, you should want to know, okay, what was potentially Rudy Giuliani doing? Because they're looking at potential deal that he and these nefarious characters that you're hanging out with trying to get done a gas deal. And as we talk about Hunter Biden, but like Hunter Biden, well, he's trying to do something on the slide too. You should want to care about that. If you really care about, that's something you should really know. You should want to know, what was he doing? But at the end of the day, at least for now, while this doesn't do anything to really destroy Trump in a way that would force them to go, you've got to get rid of this guy. And Mitch goes, I got to go over and talk to him. It's not a good look, but everybody already made up their mind long ago. I mean, I posted some today, and the insanity of people. Like, oh my God, this guy is deep state and he's been bought and paid for by the Democrats. And this is all this. It's the Kool-Aid craziness of trying to make something up in your mind when it's just not there. Because you can't fathom that maybe, just maybe, the guy that you put your trust into isn't all that he said he was. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet your love, your hate. Now, this right here. We need good stories. This happened over the weekend, and this is a good story. And if you know nothing about golf, know this. Professional golfers, it's a tough life. You see the guys out there making the tons of money, right? And you see that, but the reality is, to get to that point, to be one of those 150 or 200 golfers in the world that have an opportunity to try to compete week in and week out, it is a long, long, long slog. And there's a lot of small little tours you try to play to get yourself in a position to get on the tour. This guy won this weekend, even though he didn't win. His name's Brandon Matthews, and he had a chance to win.
On Sunday, Matthews found himself in a playoff at the Argentine Open on PGA Tour Latino America that was very significant, because with a win, Matthews would earn an exemption into the Open Championship, one of golf's 4 majors. With so much on the line, here's what happened. Matthews and Ricardo Celia were on the 3rd playoff hole when Celia drained a long birdie putt. That meant Matthews needed to make his 8-footer to extend the playoff. That's when a fan yelled out in his backswing. Matthews was startled. He missed the putt and lost to Celia, missing out on his chance to play in the British Open. Although Brandon was at first frustrated for obvious reasons, this is where the story turns for the better.
Yes, because the person who screamed was an older gentleman, and his father apologized because he has Down syndrome. And he was very excited because it was such an enthralling thing that he was watching, and he loves golf, and he got so excited at that moment that he just blurted out something which caused him to lose his concentration, and he missed the putt. Now, if you've seen golf, and you've seen the way that even if there's a little noise made, whether it's Tiger or any of these guys, somebody has a camera, a little shutter, they freak out. They'll stop. They'll get in people's faces. It's not always good. This guy, Brandon Matthews, handled it completely different because he said, "Who did it?" And they said it was the dad. Said, "Look, I'm sorry, my son has Down syndrome," and he says, "Take me to him. I want to see him." And dude's a stand-up guy.
Made sure that he understood that I wasn't upset. Made sure that he had a positive experience out of it all. And just made sure that he didn't feel any bad feelings from what happened, because people with Down syndrome are really incredible people. I grew up around several. And it made my day to see the smile that I saw on his face after I gave him a hug and big love in the ball. And, that was just as good as a win for me.
Yeah, that's a win right there. That's a win. Everybody, and it's funny because people coming out that know the guy, first of all, he's like 6'4", he hits the ball a ton. They were talking about there are places that he goes to play where they tell him, you can't bring your driver here. Whether he's hitting on the range, because we can't hold what you're going to hit it 350 or 400, and we're like 300 yards. So, but they talk about, like, even when he goes to the gym to work out locally in some of the places, they said he's the nicest guy, and all the pros like him. But it's just a good story, because understanding to get to a point to win a golf tournament is insane. That's why when you look at Brooks Koepka and Tiger Woods and all these people that have done it for so long, it's just, it's amazing. But to react like that right there is a win. He's right. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. For those of you guys who don't know and have not been following, we're getting closer to this thing called Christmas. And because it's Christmas, we'll have the backlashes against of all kinds of things, including great songs that are now very bad. So they remake them. Case in point, Kelly Clarkson, John Legend remaking the song because it was bad because of Baby Cold Outside.
Oh, we're both adults, so who's keeping score? My friends think I think they should rejoice. If I have one more drink, it's your body and your choice. I ought to say no, then you really ought to go.
Oh, God, that's awful. Awful. We can all agree it's awful, right? Okay, fantastic. So, and they're getting pushback, right? They are. And she's speaking out about it right now, like why they redid it.
People got so mad because we changed. He had this idea because of the Me Too movement. They pulled Baby It's Cold Outside from any radio, like a lot of radio stations at Christmas. Well, I love that song. Well, yeah, John and I have actually cut Baby It's Cold Outside, the original, and we like the original, but we noticed that a lot of people didn't, and so we were like, oh, let's just give him another option or whatever. And apparently, we killed Christmas.
Yeah. I don't think you killed Christmas, right? I think the fact that you felt you had to do it in the PC world is kind of ridiculous. I don't think you really killed Christmas. But this is where everybody looks back and says, oh, this song has to go because of this.
Because I'm trying to understand it, because I'm like, there are so many issues in the world right now. I mean, I literally woke up the next day and I was like,
if I can't have my creepy song, it's not Christmas.
I want the date rape drink.
I want date rapey songs.
I was like, and honestly, the original doesn't even offend me. I just was like, cool, we'll do another version.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not. It's in this day and age, it's how it's perceived. It's how it's taken. I mean, it's so bizarre in this cancel culture. That's why, like Charles Barkley, who said to an Axios reporter, essentially, oh, God. So he says, and you can't say certain things. You just can't do it. Right? I get it. Was it bad, what he said? Probably, right? Like, you're not supposed to say you'd hit a woman in particular. But he said, I would never hit a woman, but if I was going to hit a woman, it would be you, right? And this Axios reporter, had to come out and says he's now apologized. He said, if I don't hit women, but if I did, I would hit you. He said, I'm sorry. Should never done that. He regrets it. Now people are trying to cancel him. And he said something back in the day similar about, beating your wife after losing a game, compared to if you win a game. And so cancel culture's out there. And it's everywhere. And that's what we talked about the other day with it's no longer like Chick-fil-A. This isn't about whether or not you're going to change what you do and hoping to appease people. People want to cancel you. Cancel culture is about not only do I want to punish you, I want you to not only apologize to me who you didn't offend or you didn't hurt or I had nothing to do with it. I want you to apologize, but then I want to make sure that you never have a chance to ever do anything again. And what he said was stupid, right? But this weird world of craziness. I mean, I'm reading an article last night. Midget hockey. People who know hockey know that, guess what? There are levels of hockey. You've got novice, and you've got bantam, and you've got peewees, and you have midget. And it's not small people, little people hockey. That's just that they're getting rid of those names in Canada because they want to be more inclusive. But they've been around forever. They're now going after midget racing, which is a real thing. Small cars, big engines, been around since the 30s. They're going after that. Well, they don't like the name. And that's where we find ourselves, right? You've got Disney and, doing their thing where they have to put, hey, look, these cartoons are culturally, they're insensitive, but the time was the time, and to get rid of them is wrong, and they put that up in front of some of these things, but people are still coming out. This is Jenny Ma, or Mai. I probably said it wrong, so I screwed that whole thing up, and they'll come for me next.
The Real co-host Jeannie Mai says Disney should take the time to edit out offensive content from its new streaming service, Disney Plus, instead of just warning users about it.
Took the same time to give us that disclaimer. Couldn't it take the same time to just switch out something that would rub us the wrong way? Because I think that racism is taught, and I think that Disney is responsible for educating us in so many ways. So why can't they educate us on the right thing to do by showing an edit?
I think you're an idiot, Mickey. I'm just saying. I'm 91. I could say that I have wisdom. I'm almost old enough to run to be president.
No, it's not what you do with art. My God, she's not done.
Some items on the new service, including Dumbo and The Jungle Book, feature a warning that tells viewers the content may contain outdated cultural depictions. Some viewers on Twitter agreed with Jeannie Mai that the company should completely remove content that might be racially insensitive. And another says those films shouldn't get any screen time. Disney movies are racist and misogynist 99% of the time, going back to their earliest films. Please don't promote them, said another.
Yeah, get rid of you. That's right. Let's do that. We don't like it. Burn books. Hey, didn't this happen before somewhere? I'm just saying.
God, people are stupid. Cancel culture. They're looking. They're going to cancel. Then they're going to cancel some more. And eventually we're all going to be standing around going, well, all of us have been canceled. Now what? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from all of you. Blink. Don't blink. Oh, Blink's amazing. I've got my XT2 cameras. They're amazing. Keep an eye on everything, which allows me to do the same thing. So what happens is when you get them, first of all, you get them, you open them up. They're so simple, right? They're motion activated. You set them up, minutes, couple AA batteries, wire free, boom, away it goes. You download the Blink smartphone app. Now you know, hey, you get an alert. Somebody shows up. Christmas time's coming up. You're ordering stuff. You're sending it to your house. Guess what? Boom, there it is. Porch pirates, you're worried about them, but you told your neighbor, hey, when something comes, I'm going to get an alert. Can you go over and pick it up? Two-way talk feature. You can even talk to the person and say, you know what? Can you put that at the neighbor's house? They're going to get it for me. Very inexpensive. Got a huge Black Friday, Cyber Monday event going on. So before you start to do that, make sure you blink in the right way and get yourself the best cameras around. Starts Friday, November 28th, goes through December 2nd. And you get a free Amazon Echo Dot. Boom! While supplies last. Go there now. Check everything out. Blink systems are amazing, incredible. They work with Alexa. BlinkProtect.com/sale. 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 Chad Benson Show.
let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
It's going to be 10 candidates on the stage tonight. The next debate in December is going to thin the herd a little bit more. The qualifications tighten up. Right now, only 6 candidates have qualified. So you might see some candidates with lower poll numbers, like Senator Kamala Harris, Senator Cory Booker, who take some more aggressive swings because their backs are against the wall. And with 75 days to the Iowa caucus, the money is going to start to run out.
Yeah, that's true. It's very interesting to see what takes place tonight, how they hit out to one another. And the reality is, and we're going to talk about it a lot more, I want to see how you separate yourself because you don't have a lot of time. I usually find these things quite annoying, but I think tonight is going to be one of those ones where we need to start paying attention because one of these people is going to be the one, minus potentially an outside shot of Bloomberg, that's going to represent the Democratic Party when it comes to next year. So who is that going to be? Right? That's a big question for a lot of people because we've talked about it throughout the show. And we're going to continue to talk about the fact that there is no front runner the way that you would think. By now, there was a battle, but you had settled on 2 or 3, and you could see what was going on with the Republicans, and there was so many people. I mean, remember, there was a time when they had, they were relegating people. They had pre-debate shows, and it was insane how many people. Here you've got about 10 to 12 of people, and some people are just hanging on for dear life. But my question besides all of that tonight has to do with how much is Trump going to take up of their time?
Here in Atlanta at Tyler Perry Studios, we'll have 10 candidates taking the stage tonight. Of course, you have all of the main divisive issues of the Democratic Party. Of course, everyone on stage has spoken out against President Trump and called for impeachment, which is a prominent topic in Washington. But there's much more divisive issues in terms of health care and how you pay for health care programs or gun control and many things of that nature.
Yeah, so it'll be very interesting tonight to see the way that breaks itself down. And do people start to really, because before you can become president, you have to become what? You have to become the candidate. And they're going to have to really come hard at one another to separate themselves. And some people are going to try to hit home runs tonight, and they're going to realize, and don't be surprised if somebody like Kamala Harris or Cory Booker, who I think they're on thin ice as it goes, may say goodbye. And Pete Buttigieg has a situation tonight for the first time. He's being chased. And we saw it with Elizabeth Warren. When you're being chased, it is much different than when you are chasing. Being on the offense is much different. Big time. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Secretary Perry, Ambassador Volker, and I worked with Mr. Rudy Giuliani on Ukraine matters at the express direction of the President of the United States.
Nah, you're a liar. In fact, I don't even think the president knows who you are. I mean, maybe he's heard of you, but probably not.
This is not a man I know well. Seems like a nice guy, though. But I don't know him well. He was with other candidates. He actually supported other candidates. Not me. Came in late.
So what you're saying is he dated others before he decided to settle down with you. I don't know him very well. I mean, I made him an ambassador of the entire EU. I've never really met the guy. He did give me $1 million for my inauguration, but I don't know him well. We didn't talk. There's no texting. Never saw him before in my life. I saw this Shaggy song and video. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. Don't know him. Never saw him before in my life. Please. What have I been saying, though? I've been screaming it from the top of my lungs. There is an issue here that needs to be addressed. Do I think that Trump has done some stuff here that he shouldn't have done? Yes. Do I think it came from the top down? Yes. Are there more people involved? Yes. Is this going to go on longer? Absolutely it is. But the big issue isn't Sondland. It's a guy named Rudy.
Was there a quid pro quo? As I testified previously, with regard to the requested White House call and the White House meeting, the answer is yes. Mr. Giuliani conveyed to Secretary Perry, Ambassador Volker, and others that President Trump wanted a public statement from President Zelensky committing to investigations of Burisma and the 2016 election.
Now, the 2016 thing I'm fine with, because here's Trump. Trump is and a couple of years ago when Trump first really got to this point where he was president and people he was still on about what took place and the dossier and all of these things. There was a great interview with Richard Branson, Sir Richard Branson, talking about this guy, Trump. And I said all along, here's the thing about people like Trump. It's not just Trump, but it's a lot of people like him. They have long memories. And when he was in money trouble, Branson said that he reaches out to me and wants to have a meeting. And this is, he said, when Branson was thinking about getting into the airline industry, and he sends me this weird letter. I've never met him before. And essentially he said, yeah, it's stupid. Don't get in the airline industry. But he goes, we have lunch, and I think we're going to talk about stuff. And all he talks about is how he's going to get revenge on people. Right? Like and that is him. 2016, he is not let that go. That burns at him. That burns at him on a daily basis, because he still feels like no matter what takes place, whether he wins re-election in a landslide, the economy booms, there's always going to be that asterisk by his name for a lot of people. And that eats at him. It absolutely eats at him. I'll tell you this right now. Last year, the Toronto Raptors won the NBA championship. For a lot of them and for a lot of people, there's an asterisk, right? You didn't have Kevin Durant, arguably the best player in the world. He was injured. And then when he did come back, he played a half a game and blew out his Achilles, right? Then in that same game, they lose Klay Thompson to an ACL injury. And all you have left is basically a bunch of scrubs for all intents and purposes, comparatively, minus, Mr. Superstar himself, Steph Curry. So there's always that feel of an asterisk thing, right? And while they won the championship, you can't take that away. There's still something there. For 2016, I get that. But the rest of the stuff, come on now. I don't know what Kool-Aid you're drinking. I don't know how you're drinking it. I don't know what you take with it, right? I don't know if you like the purple or the red, the tropical punch, the grape, whatever it is, but you can at least be honest here. There's a lot that points exactly to what was going on there. And I love the fact that they weren't even really interested in an actual investigation. They just wanted him to come forward and say, all right, we're going to investigate. That's all they wanted. Right? Just come forward and say you're going to do that. You don't even actually have to do it.
Mr. Giuliani demanded that Ukraine make a public statement announcing the investigations of the 2016 election, DNC server, and Burisma. Mr. Giuliani was expressing the desires of the President of the United States, and we knew these investigations were important to the president.
Yeah. And what you're seeing today is somebody who, unlike all the other people, had firsthand knowledge, was talking to the president, was, this is a guy who was chatting with the president. This is not a third person telephone game thing. This is a guy. Does it mean it's going to rise to anything? I don't know. Trump, by the way, right? Because, finally, the quid pro quo went away because I think also Trump knew, like a lot of people do, the Ukrainians, they're kind of a mess. That's being kind. They're kind of, there's a reason that a lot of stuff doesn't get done the way it's supposed to in a lot of these countries. There's a lot to clean up. So when they asked him, hey, he was like, Trump was grumpy. And he said, no. He said, I don't want anything from him. I don't want anything. So what's Trump do today before he gets on the plane to head to Austin to go look at the new Apple manufacturing facility? He goes out and he's got in his hand, because he's watching it, he's got in his hand essentially, and he's pissed.
So here's my answer. I want nothing. I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell Zelensky to do the right thing. Then he says, this is the final word from the President of the United States. I want nothing.
Yeah, it was nothing to get. It's just it. But he's got a Rudy problem. Let's be 100% honest. He's got a Rudy problem. And that's going to have to be addressed. Absolutely. It's going to have to be addressed. Because now, not only is there Rudy, Pence is involved, Pompeo's involved, Rudy, tomorrow, later on today and then tomorrow, maybe the final hearings we know about now. But they're going to bring Rudy in big time. And he's already under investigation, by the way, for a few other things. But on top of that, and I don't think Rudy will flip. I think Rudy's one of those guys where he's like, I'll go down. Right? I'll go down. I think he'll go ollie north. I think he's willing to take one for the team. But a lot of other people you're seeing here, they're not willing to take one for the team. They're not. They're not like, I'll take one for the team. No. He will. I don't think he will. But you know what? There are two other guys at the front of this, these nefarious Ukrainian characters that I think have a lot more to tell, and they may make some sort of good deal. And say, I'll tell you what, now especially with Trump saying, I've never met him before. There's pictures of him. I don't know who those guys were. There's pictures of him. They're at your house. It doesn't matter. He acts like, I don't really know this guy. I know this Gordon Sondland guy. I don't really know him. I never really talked to him much. You talk to him enough. With all that being said, is it enough to move the needle? Ken Starr today was talking about it pre this entire situation, about what the potential is for, after yesterday and then looking forward to today.
No witness was terrific against the president, and I would say all of them pointed in favor of the president. Is that going to dramatically change with Gordon Sondland's testimony? It could, so that we have a muddled record going ahead. The real issue is the senators are watching. Are senators going to now say, in light of what we hear today, it's going to be a long day, even with the ambassador alone. In light of what we have heard, we need to make a trip down to the White House. That historic example set during the Nixon presidency. From what I've been able to glean, I don't think that's going to happen. But obviously, what happens today has the potential to be a game changer.
Yeah. Has the potential, but will it? Because at some point in time, when does it become too much for the Republican Party? But there's no doubt that this is going to go on much longer because they're going to bring Giuliani in. They're going to bring Pompeo in. They may even bring Mike Pence in. They're going to be looking to bring other people into this. And, for what? For a pretend investigation. You wanted, essentially, a James Comey Hillary scenario. You didn't care if there was investigation. You just want an announcement of it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me your love, your hate. Got a lot of that today. Some people are, the stories that some of these people like Chad, you just don't understand. You just don't get it. This guy is definitely a never Trumper. I'm like, so wait, he's a never Trumper. Somebody's telling me that they're DMing me back and forth. So I said, you mean to tell me that this guy is a never Trumper and has been that way the entire time? Well, he endorsed somebody else. Okay, I get that. But you mean to tell me that was all in a ploy to then give him $1 million so he could be appointed ambassador of the EU, so he then could work in a shady way to try to topple the president of the United States? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, are you listening to yourself? Wow. Like, deep state. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Guess what? Tonight, you know what? There's a debate. This may suck all the air out of the room in the debate. This may be the only thing they talk about. But there is a debate tonight in Hotlanta.
According to that poll released Sunday, the 37-year-old mayor of South Bend, Indiana, is currently in first place, while Senator Elizabeth Warren, Senator Bernie Sanders, and former Vice President Joe Biden are all tied for second place. So watch for the other candidates to take aim at Mayor Pete, but Biden could still take his fair share of fire.
Yeah, and he turns 103 today, so congratulations to him. And much like that lady talked about, he's got something to look forward to, which is being president. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. Yesterday, we had talking about a lady who's 103, and she doesn't look 103, and she says, you know what, you got to have something to look forward to in life. She's planning out life. She's looking forward in her life. She's not looking back and thinking she's got to have that. Got to have that. Hey, yesterday we had our buddy Ernesto on from Wounded Paw. I had so many people emailing me and tweeting at me and stuff saying that was an amazing thing. How do we help? Well, it's simple. You go to woundedpawproject.org. Just see the things that they're doing. Just see how amazing, how they're taking these dogs that, again, they're not these purebred dogs. They're taking shelter dogs or identifying dogs and saying this dog would be perfect to be a service dog for veterans, first responders, and their family. And their work is absolutely incredible. Their motto is to save a paw, is to save a life. And it changes not just the family of the person who receives the animal, but it also changes the animal as well. And he said, look, it was his dog Daisy, who wasn't a service dog, but knew instinctively that something was wrong that changed everything. It is incredible. Right now, they're looking for your help. Maybe you've got an extra car, truck, RV, even a boat. You know what? That's a vehicle for change. Amazing tax-deductible gift, and you're going to be saving a paw to save a life. Go to woundedpawproject.org or call 844-678-4PAW, 844-678-4729. They also take cash donations, and again, an amazing tax-deductible gift for an incredible organization. woundedpawproject.org. Chad Benson Show.
Deal this.
Mueller, arrest me.
Chad will trade you 2 perjury charges for 1 collusion and throw in a reduced charge of obstruction for free.
Yeah, I'd do that.
For just listening to The Chad Benson Show.
The truth doesn't hurt for Lizzo, the artist with the most Grammy nominations, 8, including the big 4 categories: Song, Record, and Album of the Year, along with Best New Artist. She's joined in the big 4 by another first-time nominee, Billie Eilish, 6 nods for her, that's second most, tied with another first-time nominee, Lil Nas X.
Oh, Lil Nas X. We'll see. Like, that was it, right? Remember how hot that was? We'll see. Now, he's nominated for Old Town Road, which, of course, was the song.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse through the old.
But my question is, if he gets a Grammy, does that mean Billy Ray gets a Grammy? And you know he's going to be performing this because he's Billy Ray. He's got to be there, right?
I got the horses in the back. Horse stock is attacked.
You know what makes me laugh about all the stuff going on today? There's ASAP Rocky all over these hearings. Gordon Sondland's like, yeah, I don't remember that phone call, but then I remembered somebody said something about ASAP Rocky, and I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, my God, they're talking about ASAP Rocky. If you guys don't remember him, he was the rapper that was arrested in Sweden for supposedly starting a riot when some guys confronted him, and it was chaos and craziness, and then Trump stepped in eventually, and some stuff happened, and they released him, and just the other day they dropped the charges. But the fact that ASAP Rocky is being mentioned in the impeachment hearings of the President of the United States shows you that we really have moved forward as a nation. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tonight, the Dems do have an actual debate. And there's going to be, I mean, you've got some situations here that are going to be really interesting. And somebody just asked me, what are you looking forward to tonight? And I said, you know, here's the thing about Buttigieg in the lead. It's a different world when you're the person at the top of the hill. You're being chased is much different than chasing. And he's going to have to essentially answer some questions tonight and be on the defense more than he's been before.
This is the first debate since that new Iowa caucus poll, which shows Mayor Pete Buttigieg as a frontrunner. According to that poll released Sunday, the 37-year-old mayor of South Bend, Indiana, is currently in first place, while Senator Elizabeth Warren, Senator Bernie Sanders, and former Vice President Joe Biden are all tied for second place.
Yeah, but he has some issues. And we're going to be talking about that throughout the day. And, the question is America ready for a gay president, right? Is America ready for that? For a president that's gay? I've said all along, if he's 50 and he's straight, he's walking to the nomination. He's walking to the nomination. If you close your eyes, you know nothing about these candidates, and you listen to all the candidates that are left talk about stuff, and you're honest, you're like, well, that guy makes sense, right? He does. But there's more to it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. President Trump, do you need anything?
I want nothing.
Okay, I'm asking for a friend. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
In July and August of 2019, we learned that the White House had also suspended security aid to Ukraine. I was adamantly opposed to any suspension of aid, as the Ukrainians needed those funds to fight against Russian aggression. In the absence of any credible explanation for the suspension of aid, I later came to believe that the resumption of security aid would not occur until there was a public statement from Ukraine committing to the investigations of the 2016 elections and Burisma, as Mr. Giuliani had demanded.
He's got a Rudy problem. I don't care what anybody says. He's got a Rudy problem. People today, when I was saying that, so I did a video today. People are like, oh, Chad, first of all, you're never Trumper. I'm like, whatever. I'm fine that you drink the Kool-Aid. I don't care that you drink the Kool-Aid. And we can differ on this. Will other people do it? That to me, look, it's like, oh, Jim cheats on his wife, so other people do it, so I should be able to do it too. That's the dumbest thing ever. Your ridiculous argument. And the reality is, he didn't even really want an investigation by the sounds of it. He just wanted an announcement of an investigation. So wait a minute. You wanted an announcement about a potential political rival 18 months before you may face them in the general election. This is what we're going with. It's your master plan. No. I have an issue with it. You should have an issue with it. If you care about, transparency in this, nothing came out of it. They got their money, and I'll say this. Look, you know what? They got stuff that, Barack Obama didn't give them. At the end of the day, though, you ask yourself, you talk about draining the swamp, and I hear that all the time. But if you become like the swamp, that's not good, right? Or are you totally cool with that? Are you cool with the next person, no matter who he or she is that's president, doing something that would benefit them personally? Are you cool with those things? If this was, say, Hillary Clinton, would you be okay with this? That's a fair question to ask. But Rudy Giuliani, he's the problem that I don't know what's going to happen with that. But you hear it over and over and over.
In response to our persistent efforts in that meeting to change his views, President Trump directed us to, quote, talk with Rudy. We understood that talk with Rudy meant talk with Mr. Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal lawyer.
There you go. He's got a Rudy problem. And that's an issue. That's an issue that you've got somebody running around trying to do something for the president and dig up dirt and do things. And all the while, too, also being investigated. And we brought it up, right? Also being investigated for the fact that he, too, was trying to do some sort of oil and gas deal. And the last time I checked, he's not an oil and gas person. Rudy's trying to distance himself from Sondland, but everybody knew, right? Like, there's no doubt in my mind. It's like when I see these college basketball coaches, it's like, I didn't know they were getting hookers and money. Really? You didn't? They haven't been to class in a month and a half. They have smiles on their faces. They're driving around in, expensive cars, and you had no idea? Nope. And they throw some graduate assistant, right, underneath the bus? Yeah, you know. Now, can you tie everything to it? Because they did get the money. Now, they didn't, and they got a meeting. And that's a lot of what it was about. We were talking about it was like the PBS. It's like a give-a-thon. Like, if you do this at this level, you can come and have a full state dinner. If you do this at this level, you get a T-shirt and a plate to remind you of the event. You do this at this level, and we're going to give you Stinger missiles. But is it enough to push them over the edge? I don't think it is. I don't. Unless, and I've said today, though, don't. I don't care what anybody says. If you're honest with yourself, this doesn't look good for the president. If you're honest with yourself, this doesn't. In saying all of that, I still think none of this moves the needle that much. You'll have the Republicans come out and do their half-ass. Yeah, what I heard in there was disturbing, but does it rise to the level of impeachment? What I heard there really makes me uncomfortable. Does it rise to the level of, whatever, that's fine. It's the others that haven't yet been called that could make it more uncomfortable. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. So tonight there's a big debate. And with all this going on, not a lot of people are paying attention. It's in Atlanta. Pete Buttigieg is in the lead for Iowa. But he's struggling in a lot of places, especially in the South, where there's people of color who vote because, well, quite frankly, they're not voting for him.
Buttigieg has a major problem even before he steps foot on the stage, and that is the lack of support from black voters. According to the most recent Quinnipiac poll, it shows that he's actually getting 0% from South Carolina black voters. Also worth noting, this is the first time ever that a presidential debate is taking place at an African-American forum.
Yeah. And there's issues. Producer Anthony said it from day one. Blacks aren't going to vote for him because he's gay. And they did that big thing in South Carolina, and they were all like, yeah, he sounds good, but, he's gay, and I don't know if They were honest, and he's trying his hardest, even pretending, if you will, in some of the ads, that all these people are going to be voting for him, and they like him. But the reality is he's got a big issue. And it shows you the divide in so many ways. In a place like Iowa, even in a place like New Hampshire, where he's really polling well right now, surprisingly, how it's so much different, where he can go from first or second all the way down to like fifth or sixth, even though it's in the same party. There's some issues there.
He's married in a very traditional marriage, a totally monogamous. That should appeal to,
he speaks to his faith a lot.
The silent majority out there, whoever they are. And I think it's great. And also, he's openly religious, which is also another positive in this country. So unless people are going to not vote for someone like him because he's gay, I think he's got a shot.
Yeah. But that's pretty much what people are saying, right? He can be in a quote-unquote traditional marriage. As far as you're concerned, it is traditional, Joy, but the reality is there are still people out there who think, well, no, traditional marriage is between a man and a woman. And while they may not object like they used to, or they're just saying, screw it, I don't care anymore, there are people out there. And the fact is, the African-American community has a very big problem with this. And that is going to be his Achilles heel.
My problem with Mayor Pete right now, for a few different reasons, is I don't know if we would be talking about a candidate who was polling at 0 or 1% with white voters the way we are talking about a candidate who is polling with 1% with black voters. He has a serious problem and blind spots with the African American community. He came out with his Douglas plan over the weekend, and some black leaders that were on the menu never actually supported the plan. Others weren't black at all, and a stock photo used featured a Kenyan woman and her child. This is very sloppy, and it's very disrespectful.
Yeah. Swung and miss big time. And I just don't think he resonates. Right? I think the reason somebody like, say, for instance, Joe Biden does, even more so than a Cory Booker, I don't think Cory Booker, not so much, but Kamala Harris, the African American community doesn't really trust her because they look at her and say, you were part of the problem and now you're trying to be part of a solution because of, what she was and the attorney general and how she prosecuted. And I think there's a lot of distrust there. But I think they look at Joe Biden in a much different way where they don't feel he's an elitist. And I think that's also part of the problem. Same thing why I don't think they're big fans of Elizabeth Warren is because they feel there's a certain elitism that goes with that. But with Pete Buttigieg, like I said, if he's a 50-year-old with a wife and a couple kids, we're not having a conversation about, look, we're going to say who's running for second place with the opportunity to be his vice president nominee. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So the Grammys are out. Some of them are very interesting. This song, I was trying to think about this song.
I'm that bad type, make your mama sad type, make your girlfriend mad type, might seduce your dad type. I'm the bad guy. Duh.
Now, when I listen to that, it's catchy, but I think it's all of the stuff. Like, wouldn't you agree, Phil? It's all of the stuff around it that makes it kind of catchy.
Yeah.
Like, not that, I mean, she's talented, and I've heard her sing without all the stuff, and she sounds amazing, Billie Eilish, but it's all the other stuff, right? Here's something for you. So here's the album of the year. I by Bon Iver. That's one of those, like, they're like fish. I have no idea. It's like fish. Fish will come on. I'm like, I don't know. Lana Del Rey with Norman Blanking Rockwell. Billie Eilish. When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Thank You, Next, Ariana Grande. I Used to Know Her by H.E.R. Is it H.E.R. or her? I see there's another one of those things. Lil Nas X, Cause I Love You, Deluxe, Lizzo, and Father of the Bride, Vampire Weekend. What's the song of the year? It's got to be Billie Eilish, doesn't it? Either that or it's got to be Lizzo, Truth Hurts. Those are my front runners. I like Lizzo, though. This song's old, if I'm correct. I think the song's a few years old, and they re-twisted it and did something to it.
They gotta be right. Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair.
I like me a little Lizzo. I can rock out. Some of this other stuff, I have no idea what anybody's talking about. No idea. I was listening to Tony Orlando the other day. So everybody slow your roll. I was on the 70s on 70, and I'm rocking out as I'm driving in the morning. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. But then I was like, when I get in, I'm going to have to totally YouTube it. And I did. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Saw a very interesting study today about how many people are getting denied credit because they have, in a lot of cases, they have just too much credit. And they're not doing the right things with it. Like consolidating it. Yeah, consolidate. How about this? Why don't you do that? Consolidate your high-interest credit card balances to a lower rate. You're going to save big with Lightstream. You're going to get a rate as low as 5.95% APR with autopay. And here's the thing. 20% is the average that Americans are paying on their credit cards. That's just the average. What are you doing? Your rate's fixed. There's no fees. You can even use your money sometimes as early as the same day you apply. And applying is easy. You can do it right on your smartphone. Now, for my listeners, that's you guys out there, special interest rate discount. Go to lightstream.com/Benson, lightstream.com/Benson. So you go there, right? And you're like, lightstream.com/Benson. Okay, Chad, what do I get? Well, I'll tell you. Better rate. subject to credit approval. Rate includes a 0.50% auto pay discount. Boom! Terms and conditions apply. Offers subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Benson for more information. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. As always, kids, President, do you?
I want nothing.
You want nothing? Are you sure?
I want nothing.
Are you positive?
I want nothing.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. He wants nothing, Phil. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
As I previously testified, if I had known of all of Mr. Giuliani's dealings or his associations with individuals, some of whom are now under criminal indictment, I personally would not have acquiesced to his participation.
But you did. Does it matter, though? I mean, in the end, do you still think Trump's going anywhere? I said this to somebody today. Somebody asked me, do you think that Trump knew about all of this stuff? Because people are coming up to me, people work in the sales department and other people. I said, yes, I think there's absolutely no way that he didn't know about it. And I think he was totally fine with it. And yes. But I said, the reality is, I said, do you think that O.J. Simpson was guilty? They're like, yep. I said, well, there you go. Was he convicted? No. In life, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And even when you can prove to a certain level, the reality is, doesn't mean you're going to get the conviction. Doesn't. Right? While this is going on, and this is the glove moment, at least right now, I still don't think that glove's fitting. So you're acquitting. Look at that right there. Look what I just did. You guys hear that? Like that was, I can't believe you did that, Chad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. We've got another show coming back because nobody in Hollywood can do anything. So why not go back to the well and find something that died years ago and revive it?
Another 90s sitcom returns to TV today. Mad About You relaunches with stars Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt. At the end of the series in 1999, their characters, a married couple, had a baby. And now it picks up with that kid leaving the house and Paul and Jamie getting used to being empty nesters.
It's not a nostalgic thing. It's not trying to pretend that we're 25 and 30 again. It's like, no, let's see where they are now. And life has changed, and we've changed. You know, the actors have changed, and their world has changed.
Mad About You airs on Spectrum Originals.
Yeah. And they also came to us and said, hey, we got a bunch of money. Would you like to spend some of it? And we're like, hell yeah, we would. And so away we go. They're going to spend. Enjoy it. Are you really paying for that, though? I don't even know what Spectrum Originals is. There's so many things out there, right? There's just so many, like, what's that? I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Spectrum Original? That's new. Absolutely new. So you've got Disney, Spectrum Originals. CBS, I think, has their own platform, but I don't know if you pay for that. ESPN has ESPN Plus, which I have because there's all the soccer on it I need that's not on NBC Sports on the weekends. So, and then you've got Hulu. Now you can do a Hulu, Disney, ESPN Plus package deal. You got Shudder, which is the horror movie one, which I like, by the way, which I do have. Then you've got all the other stuff coming out. And now there's a Spectrum something or other, and not counting the fact you've got Apple TV, and you've got a few big ones they're going to roll out soon. And Netflix, of course. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. What a day it's been so far. And again, there's more this afternoon. But Sondland has been, I don't think he's lying, but I also think he ain't going down for anybody at all. But Trump, being Trump, defiant as ever.
So here's my answer. I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell Zelensky to do the right thing. Then he says, this is the final word from the President of the United States. I want nothing.
Nothing. You want nothing? You want nothing. All you wanted really was an investigation announcement. You didn't really seem to really want an investigation. Just the announcement. That's all I need. You give me that, we're good. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Has this changed your mind at all? For some of you, it's never going to change your mind. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle. But has any of this changed your thought process? 323-538-2423. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show.